back. Today we are rooted and branching out, and we are still having the conversation with Aaron and Audrey, and we tackled motherhood and with boys, and I think between the three of us, we have like 12 boys or something. But we're going to shift a little bit into, with those children that we have, being intentional with our yeses and our words and what that looks like. I know for our family, we recently watched the movie Yes Day. Have you guys seen that movie?
Yes.
I didn't know if I liked the movie when we were done because my kids were like, when is our Yes Day? And I was like, oh, no.
Same thing here.
But in the movie, it talks about, the mom and the dad were super fun and spontaneous. Then they had careers, and then they had kids, and then they were just no parents. And they were just like, we're on a mission. We're no. I have become the no parent. I'm guilty. I'll just put it out there so we don't have to discuss it anymore. I am the no parent, and I'm working hard on that. But in life, we just get really busy, and it's easy to say no. So in the movie, the parents grant their kids this yes day, and the kids pick some really ridiculous things to do. And ultimately, it wraps up in a nice, pretty bow where there's emotional moments, and it gets super sweet. So it's a really fun movie. I would say it's more on the family-friendly side, and I liked it. My kids loved it. But with that, when I was talking to Ari about, hopping on with us and having the conversation with us today, she said one thing that she's been really striving for is to have being intentional with her yeses. And I was like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. Because it's easier to say no sometimes because it's easier to say no.
Yes, because I said so.
Yeah, well, and because saying yes means you have to get in the car sometimes and drive somewhere. You have to add more to your plate as a parent. So, with this journey of saying yes more, what is that looking like? I mean, you have 5 kiddos from 12 to 1. You're busy, you're working, you've been married, you have to squeeze in those date nights, you church, school, all the things. Where are you saying yes? What is walk this out with me, because I don't know. Because I'm saying no, so I need help here.
I need to listen.
Honestly, that it's really hard, especially.
Okay, good.
No,
all right,
it is.
It was a great day, ladies. You may go home. You may turn this off. We are finished here. It is really hard.
No, that movie though, first of all, was a tearjerker.
It was horrible. I know.
Oh, I love that movie. Actually,
me too. I did too.
They watched it so many times,
Yeah.
and they asked me the same thing. When are we gonna have our yes day?
Did you have a yes?
No.
Have you had a yes day?
My kids haven't seen the movie. My husband and I watched the movie, but did not show it to the kids. So no, we have not had a yes day.
That was a movie night for us.
I don't know. Aaron might be the lucky one here. I'm just kidding.
No, but going back to intentional, especially nowadays with how the media and YouTube and all these things that are really trying to indoctrinate. How do you say that word?
Indoctrinate.
There you go. Our kids, we definitely need to be intentional with what we allow them to watch, what we allow them to listen to. And with the yes, I explain it especially to Emma and Sela, because they understand it.
And how old are they?
Hannah, 12 and 11. And if they get it, if they understand it, then they're like my little mommies,
They're like your cheerleaders, and the yeses or the nos, they're there to support you.
So if I say no to Judah or Hannah or Micah, they know why. And then they can
Buffer.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I explain it to them, the reason why we can't do this, or let's do this.
So when I was reading, I heard that was the way to caveat the yeses is, well, instead of eating chocolate ice cream for breakfast, let's have chocolate ice cream for dessert tonight. Would that be a good compromise? And not that you're always wheeling and dealing, but it's saying, I hear you, I see you, I love that you want this, but you're going to throw up everywhere. And so this is not what I want for my day. And so changing your yeses to look different.
And even with that, literally that, sometimes they want something, and I say no, and I give them the reason why I know. They still want it. It's like, okay, go ahead. Let's see what happens.
Oh, how has that worked for you?
Sometimes it backfires. And especially with Judah.
And how old is he?
He's 4. He's like, I'm good. Let's do it. I'm like, okay, note to self. Cannot do that to him. It's everything is a work in progress,
So have you started it because of this movie, or did you start it because you just have seen yourself saying no all the time?
Yeah, I'm like the bad guy. Jay is like, I'm the good guy.
You're the
cop,
bad
bad
cop
cop.
too.
You're the good cop. You're the good cop.
Oh no, I'm the bad cop.
Me
My
too.
husband is the yes, and I'm always the no.
So we're like the wrong people to have on this session.
We should have the guys.
We're all
you
bad
doing?
cop here. But I was reading this preparing for today, and this lady was like, yeah, like I say yes to almost everything. So her daughter wanted to paint with nail polish, paint. And she was like, well, how about we have this picture and you paint some of it, her hair with the nail polish, and then we'll use multiple sources of art and media. I'm like, genius. She didn't say no, but she guided her in the process of that. Now, I don't think saying yes to everything is a wise choice. I mean, there's got to be guidelines and boundaries. I mean, God doesn't say no. God does not say no to us all the time. But I love that, like, navigating their creativity and their individuality of who they are. And I was like, oh, I thought that was a really cool story. She was like, yeah, so we used yellow nail polish and we painted the little girl in the drawings hair yellow. I'm like, that's cool.
That's cool.
It's a nice compromise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So do you have parameters that you've explained to your children? You said your older ones kind of.
Yeah, so, okay, I'm going to give you this example. Because this is when it's switched, when my husband is like no, and I'm the yes one. And because she's older, she went to shave her legs.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah. So, I mean, at 4 years old, she went to paint her nails because I love painting my nails. And my husband was like, no, we can't do that. It's like, she's only 4. It's just nails. But his mentality was like, when you do this stuff, she's getting older. And she's going to think she's older, and she's going to want to do other things and other things and other things.
So he saw it as a trickle effect.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't. It really wasn't. But with the whole shaving the legs, she's 12. She started shaving at 11. I was like, okay, don't do it yourself. Let me help you.
Yeah.
So she brought me in. And
Right.
that felt good because when I first did it, I was 8. And I
Oh,
did by
gosh.
myself. And I cut myself.
Yeah.
So, you don't...
Yeah.
'cause,
So
you know,
saying
we don't
yes
have
with me
that-
included. Like
Yes.
being intentional with that. Yes.
Yeah.
How do you guys say yes?
Differently. My husband is much more likely to say yes. And I'm a planner and I have a schedule and I have an expectation. And so it's forcing myself to stop. And instead of saying that no, because I have this coming up, is saying that's not a priority. My family is. These memories are. And so, yes, I will go outside and throw the football with you. Yes, we can go to the park. And saying this other thing, cleaning the house, doing the laundry, running that errand can wait. And so where does that priority fall?
Yeah.
And sometimes it is an immediate yes, and sometimes it's, well, we'll do that after
X, Y,
this
Z.
task
Yeah.
or whatever.
I've had moments like that where my kids really want to play. They want to go outside. And I'm like, and I see my kitchen is a mess. And I'm like, do I clean right now or do I go play? And I decided to go play. And we just had memories, you know? It was so much fun. So sometimes I have to remind myself, okay, this can wait. I know it'll be super late when I clean it, but
I'm
it can
gonna be
wait.
more tired.
You know? I mean, my kids they're only going to be this age for so long, you know?
Right.
I mean,
So we
I'm
gotta
looking at
cherish
my
that.
kid phasing out here. I
Yeah.
mean, he's
15, right?
15, yeah, going into junior year. But with that, so we have one kid who loves to play games, and he likes to play like the longest game in the world. And so that's not an option. So I'm like, okay, like I don't want to play that game, but maybe we'll do checkers. And for a season, it was checkers every day. And it was like at night when he's not a night person. And I'm like, okay, first thing in the morning, we're going to play checkers. And so when I woke up, the checker game was already set. And I was like, legit, son, did not mean
They will
at
hold you accountable.
6:52. But you have to be prepared when you say yes. You have to be prepared to follow through. Or to them, you have unrealistic expectations, and I struggle with that. So sometimes, I mean, my plate is very full. I'm caregiving for my grandma. I just do a lot, and so when I say yes, I have to make sure my yeses can be carried out, and so that's why I tend to say no. So I don't know. I'm asking because I don't know. What are ways that we can say yes when life is really busy and when, yes, my family is a priority, but how do I fit it all in? How does that work? I mean, you're on this journey. So tell me on this journey, how are some practical, because I just don't know.
It's hard.
So
I did the whole morning to checker time, but at 6:45, I don't want to play checkers. We did, and it was fun. It ended up turning into a whole afternoon, like a whole morning competition thing. It was great, but it's doing it. But
So what we do is we actually set times and days that, okay, this is when we're going to do this. Then this is when we're going to do that.
she would love that. She's planning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give me a schedule.
Yes.
Let me anticipate
We
and
have
know.
to. We have to set it because if not, it won't get done. We won't do it. Just like date nights. If we don't schedule it, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it has to be on the calendar.
That intentionality.
Yeah.
Definitely. So you should do that.
Except for they're not scheduled kids. Kids are not scheduled.
Right.
And they are not intentional. Kids just want to be. And here's the football mom. I'm right here.
Right. And it's
Play
not
with me.
raining out and there's
You're
nothing
not
but
doing
other
anything.
things.
You're like, dude, I am. But they don't see that.
Right.
How does that, I don't, it's just a hard battle, I think, as parents. So are you guys going to go home and do a yes day?
Not yet. I don't know about that.
I keep thinking like one day we do like an hour of yeses, because we are really strict with our food
bad.
and stuff.
No,
but like maybe taking it and like making it like this
Okay.
much time, because I think but I'll pay for it the rest of the day.
It's true. It's that recovery after the fact.
yes, because I'm not going. I don't let them eat all the things.
Same thing here.
Yeah,
Here.
And they hate it.
yeah, that's
I'm like,
okay.
you'll
Though.
thank me later. I'm like, well, when I leave the house, I'm like, yeah. Then you decide that.
So what are some things that we can do as moms? All of us, we have at least one child probably. What are ways that we can be intentional with our kids, regardless of the yeses or nos? Like how can we shift this to realizing maybe as parents and moms specifically, that we can intentionally fill their buckets.
I think
And the yeses be intertwined in that.
I think increments. Time the time that they need at that moment. Even though you are busy doing something else, give them 15 minutes, 10 minutes. Especially when they're little, they don't need all that an hour. They want to, but give them a little bit.
So I wrote a blog about that. Did you read that? Yeah, I guess what you were going to say. Go ahead, you say it. Is that what you were going to say?
No, I wasn't.
Oh,
Share yours.
So many years ago, a friend of mine, I was like, how do you, she only had 2 kids, she did all the things, but she had 2 kids, and I was like, how do you do all the things and still have children? And she was like, well, I just intentionally spend 5 minutes a day with them. And I was like, well, that sounds like a crazy mom. Like, why? Only 5 minutes. But then when you think about it, intentional 5 minutes, just one-on-one every day. And it got me thinking. I was like, okay, I have 9 kids. 5 minutes a day, it's 40 minutes. If I can't carve out 40 minutes with my kiddos, then maybe I shouldn't have had kids. So it's just prioritizing that. But so for 5 minutes, you go and you spend time with that one kid. There's some seasons that, ladies, I rock it. And then there's some seasons that I feel so miserably I don't even want to talk about. Right now is not the season to talk about this because I am not thriving in this concept. But it's still in the forefront of my mind. It's something, it's a good practice to remember that's an option. So for 5 minutes, I go and play with one kid, and it's just me and them. And then ultimately, all their buckets slowly get filled, and then you're all doing something together, and the 40 minutes has turned into an hour and a half. It's been very successful in our home when I have done it. And at times, my husband's like, have you spent your time with that kid? I'm like, sure. But for us, that's one of our ways. What are, I don't know. Do you have other suggestions?
I think that one is it.
Well, there has got to be
That's
more.
it. For me, that is it.
Well, because you have 5. But
Yeah,
but you
yes.
mentioned date nights.
Oh, yeah, now that my oldest is old enough to watch at least Judah and Hannah.
But you go with your other kids on date nights.
Oh, that, yeah. Yes.
You were thinking about your husband on date nights. I saw where that went.
I sure was.
That quickly went husband, date night. Do you have one tonight planned? Is that what I'm feeling?
Coming up.
Forefront of your mind.
Yes. But even just taking one of them to do groceries with me.
Yes.
Or I just need to pick up something. Let me take. I did that with Hannah. I normally don't because they just want everything when you're at the store. But I noticed that she needed some mommy time. So I just, and I sneak out because if I just take one, then the other one wants to come. So I have to sneak out and say, Jay, I'm leaving with Hannah. Okay.
Yeah.
And just go.
Yeah, and I think that totally fills her bucket. I'm sure you do the same thing with your two.
Absolutely. Just running a quick errand. Just that one-on-one time, they feel special. Or giving them a task. Hey, I need you to run this across the street to the neighbor. They feel needed. They feel filled because they did something to help you.
Yeah.
And so I think that helps too, of just that, hey, I need you in my life too.
Right. Yeah. So while you were talking, I had this funny. So we don't give our kids gum. Like we just don't.
That's the opposite.
So I had this pack of gum, and my kids love the gum. Like they love the gum. And the other day, like 2 days ago, I was like, all right, everybody get a piece of gum. Everybody get a piece of gum. And they're all like, we can have gum. And I was like, I just won major points then. They were like amazing for the next 2 hours, And I was like, I can do that more often. Like
The little things to that.
Yeah, like literally it's a pack of gum. Now, like with 9 kids, a pack of gum is like over. Like I had to buy another whole pack of gum. But like those little things are saying yes and are every day. That didn't have to be a big game of life that my son wants to play.
Or something that was planned out and fit into the schedule.
Yeah, or go play football for 15 minutes. That could be inconvenient.
Right.
But a pack of something that they always want to eat these stupid ring pops. Oh, I hate those things. Always say no. And so I was like, we're having this event coming up, and I was like, maybe I'll let them eat their ring pops. And I'm like, feeding over here, like, oh no, we can have the ring pops,
That
But,
happened actually today for me. So we bought candy canes.
and you let them have it?
And Hannah goes, Mommy, can I have one? I was like, I don't even know if she ate lunch. I'm like, yes. She goes, yes. Judah, Mommy said we can have
That is
one.
the problem, is when they start telling others.
That ripple.
Yes. Yeah, that's hard. So I bought the mini candy canes at Christmas time. I'll buy the little tiny ones. I'm like, yeah, you can have a candy cane. They're not this big.
Absolutely. We work them into walks.
Yeah.
And we do candy cane walks or popsicle walks.
Oh, popsicle walks. I love
nice.
that.
With so much hotness.
Maybe
in
we'll do a
Florida.
ring pop on a walk.
There you go. They're getting their sugar out as they're taking it in.
You can't get off the walk until the ring pop is done. Hey, now this
And then
is-
you go inside and wash your hands.
and take a shower because then they get their wiggles out in the shower.
Absolutely.
Oh,
That's a good one.
I like that one too.
Go for a walk. Grab your candy
Conversations
cane.
are so beneficial.
Yes, they are. You just glean so much. Like, I like that. We used to do like dessert would happen after the kitchen was clean after dinner. Like, all right, as soon as the kitchen's clean and everybody's outside, because we'll do dessert, right? Do it and then go for a walk afterwards. We've done that a couple of times, but I like the whole like the long sucking things that they may like that we don't
And that
like
are
them having.
messy and-
Sticky.
Especially if you're going to go in and take a bath anyways.
Exactly.
Oh, that's why we do popsicles only at the pool.
Right.
Because they are wet and you just throw them in water.
I'll make
But you're
sure
saying
I don't
yes.
invite you to a
But you're-
pool party.
But you're saying yes in those moments. How about bedtime? Do you guys ever say yes to later bedtime?
Yeah,
Do you?
I do.
You're good. Only for the bigs or all?
Yeah,
Do you have a bedtime?
they did.
Until you started saying yes?
But yeah, now it's like every so it's normally on the weekends it's a little longer, of course, but now it's trickling to the weekdays. I'm like, girls, come on now. But
Get it together.
Yeah.
But
So
I
it's
like that
a
saying yes on
first.
certain days.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I like that. I have a friend who we do too, but each kid has a day. That's their special day. But for her, they can stay up later on that day and they play a game with mom and dad or something. And that's kind of like their yes time. So that's
Nice.
kind of a cool moment.
That's sweet.
Yeah. I like my bedtime.
We're pretty strict on bedtime.
We are too.
During the weekends, if we're out or doing something, and we have leeway in that.
But they're going home and going to bed.
Exactly. Oh yeah.
Okay, I want to know what is your bedtime and what is your bedtime.
Oh, you don't know my bedtime.
Well, so mine are 5 and 7.
That's how old her kids are, not bedtimes.
yeah.
However, it's pretty
Yeah.
close.
Wow.
No, they go to bed between 7 and 7:30.
Okay.
But what time do they wake up?
Way too early. My youngest likes to get up at 5 o'clock. He does not allowed to be out of his room at that point. About 6:15
Okay.
because my kids do go to school, so they have a morning routine that they have
Yes.
to get up and get ready for and leave the house by a certain time. And so regardless of what time they go to bed, they still wake up at the same time.
Right.
So it's really not worth it a lot of nights to prolong the day.
Yeah.
Especially when it's going to cause extra frustration, or that's kind of my husband and I's time to regroup and connect and everything. And so we get selfish and it infringes on our time together.
No, there has to be priorities
Yeah.
and guidelines and limits.
Right. And so we are pretty strict on our bedtimes.
I like
Unless
that.
there's an event or something that we're doing as a family.
Right.
Incorporating into that.
So ours is for my 10 or 9. She just had or my 11-year-old just had a birthday, so 10-year-old just had a birthday to 11, so she's not counting that. So my 9 and under. So I have 9, 7, 6, 5, 2, and 1. And my 1-year-old doesn't count either, but the other ones they all go to bed by 8:15, and they are in bed and ready to go at 8 or 8:15. And then my older ones, I have got to cough. Excuse me. At 8 and then my older ones, my 11-year-old, she's at about 8:30. My 12-year-old is 8:30, 8:45, and then my 15-year-old, he just has to be respectful the next morning when he wakes up. So it's usually about 10, and then I'm like, dude, you need to go to bed, because he's starting to come in on our time.
Right.
So what about yours? Yours don't have bedtimes.
Well, like I said, during the weekdays, even when they were going to school, because there was a period that they were going to school, so I would set it up at 9 o'clock. That's it. But now, the little ones, Judah and Hannah, go to bed around 9.
Oh,
Yeah, and Mancela around 10.
but they sleep longer.
They do.
Yeah.
Well, Micah and Judah, the boys are the ones who wake up first.
I know
The girls are sleeping like late, but the boys wake up like around 7.
That's still later than mine, so
Yeah.
I can get up early. But I like it. So I like being able to say yes to those moments when we're all out as a family, then it doesn't really matter. Or
Right.
Friday fun night.
Yeah.
You know, one time we did a double feature one Friday fun night. It was super fun, and it is 9:30, and I'm like, yeah.
And you're exhausted by the end of
Yeah,
it.
and the next day we pay for it. Totally pay
yeah.
for it. But being able to say yes and be super intentional with that is fun. As parents, we get the opportunity to say yes, even though we pay for it later. But I love the
Yes.
walks and the being able to do that, and saying yes on some of the weekends. Maybe letting my kids stay up a little bit later, with the caveat that they sleep in later.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's gonna work, but
The little ones, yeah. That isn't. They still wake up at the same time.
It's
True.
kind of a joke. Well, I think obviously what we've learned is that saying yes is hard, and saying yes is really hard. But being more intentional and trying and showing our kids that we are fun and not all rigid. We don't like rigid bosses, and so being able to be more intentional with our yeses, or shift the question to maybe be something that we can say yes to. Yes, you want this ring pop? You can have it tonight on our walk. Or the popsicle, or whatever. Or the nail polish. You want to paint with nail polish? Okay, that's pretty ridiculous, but that's okay. We can do this in this parameter.
Right.
I love that. I think that's something I could totally work on.
We can all work on that.
Yes. Ladies, thank you for hanging out with us today. Moms, thank you for hanging out and listening with us today. Rooted and Branching Out is here to minister to moms and to be here for and with you as we walk this journey of life that is interesting and
Yes.
fun and exciting and sometimes pretty hard. So don't forget to subscribe and let us know more information in the comments.